There are some lives that preach without ever stepping behind a pulpit. Maybe that is what God has been building in you all along. Not a perfect life, not an easy life, but a life that will make people stop, look twice, and wonder how someone could go through that much pain and still carry this much light. You may not see it fully yet, but something is changing. The tears, the waiting, the silent battles, the doors that closed, the nights nobody knew you were breaking. None of it was empty. God was writing something deeper than a testimony. He was preparing living proof. And I have to ask you, have you felt it too? That strange sense that your life is standing on the edge of a turning point. If this speaks to your spirit, comment 777 below as your sign that you're still in position, still believing, still here. Because in the next few moments, we're going to uncover why the very things that almost broke you may become the clearest evidence that God has been with you the whole time. Chosen ones, your life is about to become proof that God is real. I need you to hear me closely, because there are seasons when God does not only speak through pages, signs, or the voice of a prophet. There are also seasons when He speaks through a human life. I have seen that truth in ways I could never explain away, both in Scripture and in real life. And that is why I am telling you this so directly now. Your life is becoming one of those messages. God is making your story speak, not with noise, not with performance, not with arguments. He is making your life itself become evidence that He is real. What moves me about this is that real proof never forces itself on anyone. It simply stands there, undeniable. It carries a silence stronger than debate. It makes even skeptical people pause, even when they cannot explain what they are feeling. That is what God is forming in you. You may still look at your life and see unfinished places, painful memories, or unanswered questions. But heaven has not been careless with your journey. While you thought you were merely trying to survive, God was shaping, refining, and marking your story with His fingerprints. Every hard season, every lonely night, every chapter that felt wasted has been turned into evidence. There are people who only believe what they can measure, analyze, label, and control. But then they meet a person like you, and something in their logic begins to crack. How do they explain your endurance after all you have carried? How do they explain the peace that stayed with you when your life should have fallen apart? How do they explain joy returning after heartbreak? It does not fit the natural pattern. That is because what God is doing in you is not merely natural, it is supernatural. Some people preach with words. You have been preaching with endurance. Some argue theology. You have been revealing God by getting back up every time life tried to bury you. That is also why the weight has felt so heavy. I do not say that casually. I know what it feels like to carry something I could not fully explain, as if life was asking more from me than it seemed to ask from others. Sometimes it is not only pain you are carrying. Sometimes you are carrying a revelation that has not been unveiled yet. You were not chosen for this because you chased attention. You were chosen because you stayed faithful when nobody was clapping for you. You kept walking when your faith felt thin and your strength felt low. You did not quit in private. That kind of life carries authority, not because it is perfect, but because it is real. And in this generation that is rare. So many people are chasing quick results, easy validation, and an image bright enough to impress for a moment. But you did not skip the process. You did not build yourself on appearance alone. You kept reaching for what was true. In a culture obsessed with being seen, you kept becoming. In a world addicted to shortcuts, you let God do deep work in hidden places. That kind of heart becomes proof all by itself. This is why people can feel something around you even when they cannot explain it. Some admire it, some feel uneasy around it, some are drawn to it, and some resist it. I have learned that when a life begins to carry the presence of God in a visible way, it will comfort the hungry and unsettle the comfortable at the same time. That is not failure. That is part of the assignment. God is taking your scars, your lessons, your victories, and your growth, and placing them where others can see that He still moves in human lives. When they look at you, they will not just see survival, they will see mercy. They will see grace with a face. They will see what happens when God keeps His hand on someone through fire. Your life has been like a canvas, and I know there were seasons when it looked more like ruin than beauty. There were moments when all you could see were fragments. But God has never been confused by unfinished work. The painful strokes were not pointless. The darker colors were not mistakes. Now the image is beginning to come into focus. And when people step back far enough, they will realize they are not merely looking at a person with a hard story. They are looking at what God can do with a surrendered life. Maybe you still look in the mirror and notice the cracks. Maybe you still feel ordinary on some days. But that does not weaken the testimony. It strengthens it. The cracks are part of the evidence. They prove that God does not need a flawless vessel to reveal His glory. I think about Paul, who carried weakness and still became a witness to divine strength. I think about David, who knew failure, grief and warfare, yet still carried a heart after God. I think about people in our own time who walked through humiliation, loss or rejection, only to emerge with a depth no easy life could have produced. Broken places do not disqualify a person from being used by God. Many times they become the very place where grace shines brightest. That is why I do not want you to resent the chapters that almost broke you. Those chapters gave your story credibility. Without them, people might call your life inspiring, but they would not call it undeniable. God is not merely writing an inspiring story through you. He is writing one that leaves people without easy explanations. I believe you have already started noticing signs of it. Doors you thought were permanently closed are shifting. Situations you assumed were over are resurfacing. Places that once felt barren are beginning to clear. This is not random timing. This is divine placement. And when it unfolds more openly, people will try to explain it away. Some will call it luck. Some will call it discipline. Some will call it timing. But the truth will remain stronger than their language. What is happening in your life cannot be reduced to human effort alone. God is making Himself visible through what He is doing in you. And when God decides to use a life as evidence, it does not stay hidden for long. More eyes will fall on you. Some will watch from a distance, trying to understand how you remained standing under pressures that crushed other people. Some will come closer because they sense there is something in your life they need for their own. Some will step back because your story interrupts the excuses they have been living behind. But their reaction is not your assignment. You do not need to argue. You do not need to prove yourself through speeches. You do not need to chase acceptance. Your calling is to live faithfully. Real proof does not debate its existence. It simply stands there. And by standing there, it says more than words ever could. The sea does not ask permission to reach the shore. It obeys the pull placed on it. The sun does not demand recognition. It rises, and the light speaks for itself. A tree does not explain how it survived years of storm and wind. Its roots tell the story in silence. In the same way, you will not have to defend what God has done in your life. Your endurance will speak. Your healing will speak. Your peace will speak. Your transformation will speak. And what will surprise people most is that you will not only survive, you will flourish. Many expected you to barely make it. But when God establishes a life as evidence, He does not stop at rescue. He brings restoration, wholeness, joy that does not match the circumstances, and peace that outruns logic. That is why certain things were delayed. Heaven was not withholding from you. Heaven was preparing you, so that when the unveiling came, what God had built in you would be impossible to deny. So walk forward with confidence, not pride. Do not apologize for the grace resting on your life. Live in a way that honors it. Because when your life shines, the glory does not stop on you. It points beyond you. That is what you are becoming now, living proof. a quiet but undeniable witness that God is still alive, still active, still faithful, even when unseen. As Isaiah says, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee." This is not just poetry, this is your season. If this word spoke to you, leave a comment and declare, "I am living proof." And if this message touched your spirit, share it with someone who needs to remember that their pain is not pointless and their story is not over. Stay faithful, keep walking, and let your life keep speaking.